The dust of Suna was a familiar comfort to Maria, a village built on red earth and endless hope. In the cool, quiet dawn, only the rustling of maize stalks and the distant crow of a rooster broke the silence. Maria stood at the threshold of their mud brick home, her small, worn bag clutched tightly, filled with one clean dress and the heavy expectation of her entire family. "Maria," her mother whispered, her eyes already wet, "promise me you will be careful. Nairobi is not our river." Maria smiled, a brave, brittle thing. "I promise, Mama. I will find good work. I will send money for the school fees, and maybe, one day, for a proper roof for this house." Her father, a man stooped by years of sun and fruitless toil, placed a hand on her shoulder. "Go, my daughter. Go and conquer the world for us." Maria left that morning, not just carrying a bag, but the crushing weight of her family's future. The journey itself was a metaphor for the distance between her past and her dreams, long, rattling, and filled with a suffocating anticipation. When she stepped off the bus in Nairobi, the city hit her like a physical force, a dizzying symphony of diesel fumes, impatient shouts, and concrete towering against a smoky sky. It was magnificent and terrifying. She was met by Purity, a girl she had known vaguely from the next village, now transformed. Purity wore bright, tight clothing, expensive cologne, and a hardness around her eyes that Maria didn't recognize. "Maria! Look at you, still looking like a goat herder." Purity laughed, pulling Maria into the swirling chaos. "Forget the village. Nairobi is where the money is, darling. I already have a plan for you." Purity claimed she had secured Maria a job as a hostess at a prominent night spot. "It's easy work, Maria. You serve drinks, you talk to the rich men, they leave big tips. More money in one night than your father sees in a month." Maria, innocent and utterly dependent on Purity, felt a knot of unease, but the sight of Purity's comfortable apartment with running water and electricity silenced her doubts. She was tired of poverty. She needed to deliver on her promise. The night spot was a club pulsing with cheap music and predatory stares. The uniform Purity gave her was shockingly revealing, making Maria feel exposed and cold, even in the humid air. The first night, she tried to only serve drinks, keeping her gaze low. But the men were insistent, their touches possessive, their words demanding. Purity was ruthless. "Don't be stupid, Maria. They pay for company. Do you think I brought you all this way to pour beer? The big money comes from being friendly." Maria resisted, tears burning her eyes, thinking of her mother's warning. But the image of her younger brother needing medicine, the school demanding fees, the roof leaking in the village rain, those images were far more powerful than her shame. She thought, "I am doing this for them. I am doing this so they never have to." The descent was slow, agonizing, and yet, frighteningly swift. She went from serving drinks to accepting company at tables, and then, inevitably, to the backrooms. Each transaction was a piece of her soul chipped away, a cold, empty feeling that no amount of money could fill. She became a master of compartmentalization. During the day, she was the dutiful daughter, writing letters full of fabricated successes. "The job is wonderful, Mama, the people are kind, the tips are enormous." And she sent money, big sums that brought floods of grateful tears and blessings from the village. She was their savior, their glorious success story. At night, Maria was someone else, a ghost moving through neon lights, her smile plastic, her eyes vacant. She learned the cruel arithmetic of survival, shame traded for currency, silence bought with suffering. She felt the isolation keenly, she couldn't tell the truth, and the lie had built a massive wall between her and the people she loved. She was drowning in the wealth she was generating. One rainy Tuesday morning, Maria woke up with a deep, hacking cough that shook her entire body. The persistent fever she had been ignoring for weeks flared violently. Her once strong, resilient body, ravaged by exhaustion, poor nutrition, and the unforgiving stress of her lifestyle, had finally given up. Purity, seeing a liability, reacted with brutal pragmatism. "You're sick, Maria. You're scaring off the clients. You need to leave. Go back to your village, heal up, and maybe come back when you're better." She tossed a few worn shillings onto the bed, enough for the bus ticket, nothing more. Maria lay there, shattered. Broke again, not because the money hadn't been there, but because the sickness had consumed her savings in doctor visits and ineffective remedies. The illusion was over. Her body was a wreck, her spirit was crushed, and the one thing she had sacrificed everything for, the money, was gone. The bus ride back was a torment. Every bump of the road felt like a hammer blow against her aching head. She wrapped a thin shawl tightly around herself, shivering despite the heat, acutely aware of the shame that was now a tangible weight beside her on the worn seat. She was no longer the brave girl carrying hope, she was a failed promise, a lie returning home. When the bus dropped her at the dusty crossroads near Kibera, she had to lean heavily on the wooden post, struggling to breathe. She walked the last mile slowly, the familiar red earth mocking her weakened steps. Her mother was the first to see her, standing in the doorway. She didn't see the bright city clothes Maria had described, she saw a shadow of her daughter. Thin, pale, and trembling, the hollows beneath her eyes stark against her feverish skin. The worn bag contained only a few empty vials of medicine and some crumpled letters she could never send. Maria collapsed into her mother's arms, not with the triumphant embrace of a returning conqueror, but with the quiet desperation of a refugee. She was home, but she was bankrupt in health, in wealth, and in spirit. "I tried, Mama," she choked out, the tears finally flowing, scalding her cheeks. "I tried to conquer it. But the city won." Her mother held her tight, saying nothing of the money, nothing of the future, only rocking her daughter and weeping softly over the frail, sick body of the child who had sacrificed everything for a dream that had turned into a nightmare. The silence of the village night enveloped them, a stark, painful contrast to the noise of the city that had broken Maria. She had returned, but the girl who left was gone forever.